Welcome to the Hope Natural Health Podcast. I'm Dr. Erin Ellis, your host. On this show, we discuss all things health, hormones, and happiness with a little side of this thing called life. Sarah Donner is a German hypnotherapist living and working in New York City. In her teens and early 20s, she struggled to regain her period and balance her hormones. This experience led her to change her lifestyle completely and eventually pursue a career in health and wellness, with the mission to help others break limiting beliefs and reach their full potential. As a hypnotherapist, she's had the privilege of assisting numerous women reconnect with their body, regain control over their health, and embrace a renewed sense of well-being. I'm super excited for this conversation today with Sarah. So welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for the intro. I'm so excited to speak with you today.
Yes, thank you so much for taking the time. I've tried hypnotherapy in the past, and there's a few practitioners locally here. I know you're in New York, but what sparked me to have you on the show was how you struggled with your period and hormones, because that's what I focus on primarily as a naturopathic doctor. So we'll dive into how you use hypnotherapy for that or got to that. But first, tell us a little bit more about your background and more in depth about how you got into what you're doing now and becoming a hypnotherapist.
Yeah, so like you said, I grew up in Germany. Then I moved to New York for modeling initially. I got my degree. I ended up working so many different careers in tech and beauty. And while I was in tech, I was really struggling with imposter syndrome. My mental state was not good. I did not feel confident at all. And I discovered hypnotherapy for myself to just boost my confidence a little bit. And during the sessions, I just really got to reconnect with myself on a whole different level. And that opened my mind to being like, wait a minute. I'm not being kind to myself. I'm not listening to myself. How is it that I'm moving through this world and I'm not connected with myself at all? And once I regained that self-awareness, both physically and mentally, I healed so many of my physical ailments. My skin cleared, my gut issues got so much better. And yeah, like you said before, like my cycle was also like all over the place, and just by like sitting with myself and reconnecting, I really like started this whole process of healing, and I was able to take in my body's clues so much better. And at that point, I already had my license as a health and wellness coach, just because I was hungry for that information. I loved that space so much, but I never thought I wanted to work with that. And then once I started to do hypnotherapy for myself, I was like, oh my God, this in combination with having this knowledge, like now I can really help people implement lasting change, because consciously everyone knows what they're supposed to do. Like we know we're not supposed to wake up at midnight, eat a whole cake, or we're not supposed to be with toxic people, So it's like, this is really helping people get to the root cause, implement lasting change, get unstuck, and help them move through the world like so much happier and healthier.
Oh, I love that. So we'll go back to the basics for those that might not know. What is hypnotherapy? Like, how do you describe it and what does it entail?
Yeah, so hypnotherapy, I always describe it super simple. It's quieting the chatter, the conscious mind, and your conscious mind really only makes up 10% of your brain activity. It's your logical thinking, your reasoning, your decision making. Your subconscious makes up 90%. Your emotions, your habits, and it's the big iceberg. So when you're stuck, when you're really trying to reach a goal, like lose weight or be more healthy, and you keep being in this like vicious cycle where you lose a little bit of weight and then you put on twice as much, it's most likely because you have a subconscious belief system that keeps you stuck. So in hypnotherapy, we get to the root cause. What is stopping you? We focus on that. We implement new belief systems, and we do that by opening the subconscious to be more receptive to suggestions, to new habits. We implement new neural pathways in your brain that will make change easy and lasting.
Can you describe too the difference between the conscious brain and the subconscious brain?
Yeah, so the conscious brain, that's your excuse generator. That's the part that makes conscious decision, your reasoning, when you really have to take a moment to think about things. Your subconscious, though, is so much more powerful because it makes up 90% of your habits, your beliefs, and your emotions. So in the subconscious, let's say consciously, you want to make more money, but your subconscious, when you were a kid or something, maybe your parents used to say, oh, um, money is so hard to come by. Money is so hard to get, So then your subconscious believes, I will never be rich. It's too hard for me. I cannot achieve this.
Mm-hmm.
So no matter what you try to do consciously, your subconscious, because it's 90% of all your brain power, will always keep you stuck there. So
Mm-hmm.
in hypnosis, we get to trance. We open the subconscious. We can implement new neural pathways that actually will say, no, I can do this. Money is not hard to come by. It is abundant. I deserve this.
Mm-hmm.
So no matter what your negative belief system is, we can implement something new and something positive if it's aligned with your inherent values.
Yeah, awesome. So why do you think so many women are disconnected from themselves?
So I think as women especially, we have so many like societal pressures and standards, how to look, how to act, how to move through this world in a very certain way. And on top of that, we often take on this role of the caretaker, wanting to please everyone around us, wanting to just be pleasant with everyone. And when we are so focused on other people around us, we lose touch with ourselves automatically, right?
Mm-hmm.
We ignore our intuition. And
Mm-hmm.
as women, our intuition is our superpower, I think. And if we ignore our intuition, if we ignore our bodies, we're gonna encounter gut issues. We're gonna encounter skin issues because our body will give us signs. If you
Mm-hmm.
don't listen to one sign, the sign will get bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have missing periods, we have acne, we have all these issues.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a lot of like, I was especially guilty of being like, oh, I have acne. I want to go to the doctor and get a pill and make it go away.
Mm-hmm.
For years, I would not look at myself. I would not listen to myself because I was like, I don't know about this. Like, why would
Mm-hmm.
I take accountability and try to figure this out?
Mm-hmm.
And Western medicine does not always take like this mind-body connection into account. And I'm not saying your intuition like compares to a medical degree, of course not. But I'm saying it's going to be so much easier if you go to the doctor and you can say like, okay, I noticed when I eat this type of food, I feel this way, or I
Mm-hmm.
know that since I've gone through struggles in my relationship, I've been getting these issues.
Mm-hmm.
So get a little bit more agency over your body can go
Awesome.
along.
Yeah. A lot of women and men too, they have a lot of chatter going on in their brains. It's hard for them to focus and stay attentive. Or maybe they are wanting to try meditation, but they're like, I just can't quiet the brain. So, how can someone with a brain that's going a million miles a minute and doesn't want to calm down, like, is hypnotherapy still something that they can do if they just literally can't get, like, they don't ever feel like they can get in that trance state?
Yeah. So there are many different ways to get someone to quiet down, right? To get someone to relax. And I think what I would do in that situation, I would maybe try to talk to that part that is scared to
Mm,
sit in peace, to be quiet. What is under there that this person is scared to feel, see, hear? What
mm,
are they not willing to sit with? And
mm-hmm,
that's where the juicy part is at. Like, that's where you have to work on. That's where the bliss point is. Once you discover what they're not willing to sit with or what's scary for them, it takes a lot of courage to do that. But once you're there, you really open the road for self discovery and growth.
yeah. So that's interesting. So even attention deficit could have something, what I just learned from what you just said, could have something to do with the subconscious.
Yeah,
right?
so I think Gabor Mate talks about this a lot. He said that attention deficit actually comes from trauma.
Hmm. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Can you share a little bit, maybe a case study about, I know you explained your journey with hypnotherapy and how it healed your symptoms, but is there a particular client that, and I'm catching you off guard here because this wasn't in the notes, like just an example of someone that came to you and then walk us through, how you helped them and how many sessions and what it
Yeah.
was like, or maybe someone that was on that fear and they couldn't quiet the mind and then how hypnotherapy helped them.
So I had a client, and this I love to mention the story because it surprised me myself. I was like, "Wow, this is amazing." Um, she came to me and she had knee pain, and she wanted to come for pain management. She was like, "I just want to know certain tricks or like a way to take my mind off the pain." And then in session, we went and we looked at the pain, and her something with her dad kept coming up. So
Hmm.
I go with whatever comes up, and we observed this father wound. And then once we came to a resolution within how she can deal with her father, how she can deal with the pain, she called me back a day later and said, "My knee pain is gone."
Hmm.
So this was just like an amazing example how like mental pain, trauma, all this stuff manifests in physical pain sometimes, and how once we sit with what we don't want to sit with the painful
Mm-hmm.
memories, with once we resolve that, our body has so much more strength and power to actually heal itself.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's incredible.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, do you have any specific hormone ones?
For hormones, so you know my journey. I struggled so much with getting my period back, and once I started just like focusing on myself, I was so much better equipped to take in what my body likes and what it doesn't like. And
Mm-hmm.
then obviously, I don't think if you don't know about seed cycling, if you don't know about like not taking in too much caffeine, your body might not be like, "Oh, you should do seed cycling," you know.
Mm-hmm.
But you get more in touch with yourself so that you can listen to your body, like, maybe that third cup of coffee on an empty stomach is not so good, you know,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe I don't feel so good after doing 10 high intensity workouts a week, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So I
Mm-hmm.
think a lot of women get very clear signs from their body after they work with themselves and after they reconnect.
Oh, yeah. That's so true. I talk
Yeah.
a lot on this podcast about awareness and how that's the first step. And really, anything is just becoming aware of what's going on. And as women, like we talked about a little bit ago, like we're just so busy and we always put everyone else's needs in front of ours. And so we oftentimes forget about ourselves and what our body needs or what our body is telling us. And then it oftentimes becomes a big issue when it could have been fixed, way sooner before it was, detrimental for us or causing, more symptoms than it needed. Is there any
100%.
is there anything that hypnotherapy can't help with?
Um, I don't know. I mean, of course, if you have an open wound or something like that.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I mean, I personally don't work with people who are like schizophrenic or have
Mm,
multiple personality disorder. Um, but maybe other hypnotherapists are. I don't know. I'm really like what gives me the greatest joy is really like to help women like reconnect. Like I have so many
hmm.
amazing female clients that are CEOs, that are professional athletes, and to just be able to help them reach the next level personally and professionally. That's my bliss point.
Oh, I love that. So they come to you not really with any ailment per se. It's just, hey, Sarah, I want to reconnect with myself.
Well, some
Or,
people, yeah, some people are. Some people come and they say, like, "Oh, I have this meeting coming up and I'm scared to ask for a raise. I'm scared to ask for
uh,
this. I feel blocked in that way." It's really whatever, but where the beauty of hypnosis is that we get to the root cause. Well, why don't you feel like you deserve more money? You know?
mm, hmm.
And that will not only help you ask for what you want in that meeting that will help you ask for what you want everywhere in your life.
Okay. Is there like a specific, I guess, process that hypnotherapy can help women reconnect with themselves?
Yeah, so why I love hypnosis is because we really honor every part of yourself. We honor the part of yourself that is scared. We
Mm-hmm.
honor the part of yourself that wants more, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So when you see all parts of yourself, you automatically come from a more compassionate viewpoint. And then you're reconnecting with yourself, because disconnection happens when you don't acknowledge a part of yourself,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
Just pretend that hurt part doesn't exist. When you pretend that scared part doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever had an experience where you weren't able to help someone reconnect with themselves or get to the root of what was going on through hypnosis?
Um, I mean, there are some people that set out to do this, and I think for everyone, for every issue, there is like a perfect modality, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes people respond to Reiki better than they would respond
Mm,
to hypnotherapy. You know, I think
right.
everyone, if you have an open mind and you want to receive the help and you're on a journey, maybe if it's not good for you right now, it will be good for
Mm,
you in 1 year, you know?
okay.
Um, yeah.
What can it be done online?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I do most of my sessions via Zoom, actually,
Oh,
because the magic happens in the brain.
yeah. And is it like talk, like camera, or is it just voice or both?
It's with the camera, because
Okay.
I get a lot of physical signs.
Mm,
Is the person in trance? What is happening? You know, it's important for me to be with them all the way, because
mm-hmm.
sometimes people get a little scared or nervous before the session. So it
Mm-hmm.
really helps them to see me. I'm in touch with them the entire time. I guide them through it.
Okay. And
They're
then
not alone.
is there an average amount of sessions that someone needs, or is it literally depend on the person?
It depends on the person. Like people say, on average, depending on your goal, depending on like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
where what the cause is, like 3 to 6 sessions. Maybe some people, like for example, the lady who had knee pain, like hers was resolved within 1 session. I
Oh,
never
wow.
know in advance, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But
Oh,
to give you an average 3 sessions, I would say.
oh, cool. Awesome. What else do we need to know about hypnotherapy or that you want to share with us?
Yeah, maybe because there's so much misconception
Yeah.
still. I'm not gonna take a tiny little watch and dangle it in front of your face.
Are we going to elevate in the air?
Yeah, no, I don't have a bunch of dead bodies in the closet behind me. Everyone has woken up,
Yeah.
so there's no reason to be scared. It's such a
Mm-hmm.
beautiful gift that you can give yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, it's just when I go out sometimes and I say to people what I do, they come up with these crazy things
Oh,
like, "Oh
yeah.
no, you hypnotize me and make me do funny things," and I'm like, "No, I actually don't have any interest in that, and I don't think I could do it."
Right. Oh, that's crazy. Yeah. And, when people do think about hypnotherapy, I just think of the guy on the stage, elevating the person
Yeah.
above. And then they're like, what in the heck just happened to me? Do most of your clients like remember, or are they kind of like in this whole, what in the heck just happened over the last hour or whatever it was?
Um, it's funny. They will remember, but they will
Mm-hmm.
often say like, "Oh my God, I didn't even feel like I was in the room." But
Mm.
they definitely remember. And sometimes I write down very specific keys and points that like
Mm-hmm.
they told me during the sessions, and I will email them afterwards and be like, "Remember this." But usually that's the point of hypnosis. It's in the subconscious.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah,
incredible.
what's
I'm,
important we will
yeah.
implement.
So awesome. Yeah, I was talking, I think yesterday a couple times to some patients about how I'm like, you've got to address this subconscious. I'm like, did you have any trauma in your past? Like, what is it about Like, why are you afraid of this or anxious over this? Or what was the other one? Oh, something about food and how they know. She said, my brain doesn't work that way about only having one. Like, she can't just have one cookie. She'll eat like 5. Yeah. And I said, well, there's something there, like subconsciously that you're wanting or needing, or your brain's like, I got to have 5. You know, you don't need it. I said, you can work through that. Like, there's something subconsciously going on. So I talk a lot about the subconscious brain, and it's wild. And like you said, a lot of it is from the past and childhood, or triggers from something else we don't even recognize. It could be a smell. It could be a sound, silly things that, well, they're not silly, but they seem silly, but it's something that was obviously a trigger from whatever in the past. Even people that say that they don't have any sort of trauma that they remember with like their family. It's like, well, maybe you were just so young that you don't even remember that anyways, but it's your subconscious
is. It doesn't have to always be big trauma.
True.
It can just be something that our parents used to say, that would make us, that would implement a negative belief system, like, oh, money is hard to come by.
Yep. Yeah.
Or rich people are evil, or something negative that we pick up. Because until the age of 8, our subconscious is wide open. So we just take in whatever it is here, and there's no real filter. Only with 8 years old, we implement this critical filter that we're like, is this right? Does this sound true? But before that, we're wide open. So that's just why it's so important that we speak to children, because they will take it in. They will say, oh, if rich people are evil, maybe I'm not going to ask for this promotion. Or, if food is hard to come by, I will always have to finish my plate, even if I'm saturated, I have so many people that are like, I cannot leave with food on the table. I didn't grow up this way.
Yeah.
But then they
Yep. And even more too, I think it's not even about parents or kids. It's, what's going on in the world. They learn these new things and these new rules and hear these things on the media and the news and now social media, and you see one thing and then you believe it, and now it's there, and you're like, well, I can't do that because that person said so or whatever. So, wow. I love this conversation. We'll wrap it up, though, with one question I ask all my podcast guests. What would be your best or favorite health tip?
To listen to yourself. Take time. Give yourself more credit than you do. We have ultimate wisdom.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. We oftentimes, especially as women, like I mentioned, forget about our own selves because we're so focused on everyone else but us, and we come last. So I love that. It's very good advice. Is there any last tidbits of information you would like to share, Sarah?
No, I think we discussed so many beautiful topics. I'm so excited that we had this conversation. I love what you do. I'm obviously such a big fan of helping women restore their cycle, not only because of my own journey, but also because I see how it helps other people,
Yeah.
So it's just very blessed to be here.
Same. Well, I'm grateful to have you on the show. I'm sure you connected with a lot of the audience. We will make sure to link your website in the show notes and have her social media links, etc. But again, thank you for being on the show, Sarah.
Thank you so much for having me.